Welcome again to the Straight Skinny Show. This is our 6th show. We're planning on doing at least 1,000 of these suckers to get the word out. As you know from previous shows, if you've been watching and listening, the paradigm of the show is very simple. To get out of chaos order, you must have conversation and compromise. You must come to the table and discuss the issues, negotiate the differences, find common ground, and move forward. Until this happens in America, there'll be no unification, there'll only be divisiveness. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are starting to realize we have to unify. Put our personal differences together, aside, compromise, and find common ground. All right, I mean, that's pretty blunt. On this show, we don't try and preach, we try and teach, we try and be varied with our topics, interviews, different personalities, etc. You know, we're not, I'm not Harvard educated. The G-man is not, that's me, I'm the G-man. I'm not Harvard educated, I have no degrees. What I do is read a lot, listen a lot, observe a lot, and formulate an opinion, which in America is still, you're free to do. Although people don't like to hear your differences, they should man up and listen. And let's go on for today's show. Thanks for joining us. I talked to Corey today. Corey's my co-host today. As I talked about last week, some of the shows will have 2 people, Corey and I. Some will have 3, like last week with Tommy Lack, Corey and I. We have a number of co-hosts who will be jumping in and out week to week, depending on their availability. They have busy lives, families, other careers, personal interests, but they find the time to come on the show and give their opinions, and we welcome their opinions, and we share their opinions. All right, Corey, you there, Corey?
What's going on, G? How you doing today, buddy?
Well, it's just another rainy day outside here in Transylvania, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Let's talk about what we talked about last week when I said, according to Betty Davis, it's going to be a bumpy ride the next few months, so fasten your seatbelt. Yeah, it's going to get more chaotic as time goes on. What's your take on how chaotic it's going to get?
I don't really think we've seen the end of it so far. I mean, right now things are getting a little better, but still seem to be escalating. I mean, what do you think?
Well, this thing with McCloskey, I watched the interview of Chris Cuomo from CNN because I watch all the sources to get the truth somewhere in the middle. I watch Fox, I watch BBC, I watch India, I watch China, I watch all the news outlets worldwide. Because my curiosity is, what are they saying about America in those French cafes at the tables? Wouldn't you like to know what the outside world thinks of this crazy crap going on in our frickin' country?
Oh, I'm sure. I wouldn't doubt it one bit.
And knowing we can't get honest media without spin and bias in this country, you have to go outside the country to get the truth.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry to say that, but at least now we've been desensitized that we know CNN is the communist news network carrying water for the Communist Party and the leftists. We know Fox News is to the right. And by the way, Tucker Carlson just superseded Hannity in popularity. See, what happens with these celebrities like Hannity, he made so much money and got so full of himself, he spends half the time on the show talking about himself. Hey, Sean, we don't want to hear about your life. But Chris Cuomo had on McCloskey, the guy in St. Louis that pulled his weapon on the mob with his wife, and his lawyer. Big mistake for Chris Cuomo to make that attempt to rough up these guys. These guys were prepared. They tore him a new asshole on the show. Good for them. Good for them. He was trying to spin it in favor of the left. Didn't work.
Well, that's what they all do, isn't it? Everybody tries to spin it to get their own audience, meet that, keep the people, subdued by keeping them listening to the same thing over and over again, controlling.
Well, listen, the advertising business and the human resources and relations business started in the early 1900s. It's propaganda. Propaganda created advertising. Propaganda was actually talked about in 1692 by a pope. That's how far propaganda goes back. It was for propagation of the faith because the Catholic Church was being challenged by the Protestants. So they said, we're going to spread the word out here. We're going to propagate the faith. Over centuries became propaganda. Germany used it really well to a high level. They brainwashed their people. China does it. We all do it. America does it. We have propaganda every second of every day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like a country saying, we'll win because God's on our side. He says, he ain't on your frickin' side, he's on our side. So we all have our own propaganda to spin.
Well, as long as you follow what the masses believe and spin it to your story, they're going to follow in suit with whatever you're saying, right?
Well,
Thumping God and
yeah, many years ago, many years ago, I was a private investigator for a couple of years. Now I have an assignment to do interviews of witnesses, and I get 3 witnesses, different angles on the street, different closeness to the scene, farther away, closer. And somewhere in the 3 interviews, I would find the truth, because the one guy was like, he saw it this way, he saw it that way, and the third guy saw it another way. But somewhere in the middle was the truth. So if you listen to Fox and CNN and BBC and all these outlets, these media outlets worldwide, somewhere in the middle of all that, if you're smart, you can ascertain where the truth lies.
there's at least 3 sides to every story, right?
Absolutely. Now, what do you think? I mean, I have my own feelings, but what do you think is going to be the infamous ritual of the October surprise? In 2016, they whipped out the Access Hollywood tape off a dusty shelf from 13 years before and tried to kibosh Trump. And Trump's key advisor said, "Oh, Donald, that tape, you got to quit the race now." And Donald said, "Fuck, I am. I'm vested here, man. I'm vested in this thing." And he won. God bless him.
Oh, yeah.
Was he expecting to win?
No.
No frickin' way. He looked in the mirror the next day and said, "Shit, I got no cabinet, no organization, no people. What do I do now?"
Oh, yeah.
So
So he was basically an entertainer that decided to just run with it. And everybody was going along because they'd seen him on all the different TV shows, and they figured, yeah, this guy's saying something great. And he went, crap. You know, he was looking for the publicity.
listen, if Clinton got a blowjob in the office, what's Trump just talking about grabbing pussy, not actually grabbing it? So, sorry, in the control room, dear. But what do you think this October surprise is going to be? I know what I think.
What do you think? Go ahead.
I think martial law. I think as it gets more chaotic, they'll have to do insurrection, then go above that to martial law. There'll be possible tanks rolling around this country. Look, if a Republican governor in Georgia this week can do business with a Democratic mayor to solve the problem, that's true bipartisanship and working for the people for a change and not for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's going to be martial law or some kind of heavy-duty shit, because it's going to get a lot worse, Cor. You get a lot worse. This ain't nothing.
No.
This is only the beginning of July. We got to go 4 more months of this crapola, man.
Yeah.
Then
things are just gonna escalate.
then the onslaught of $2 billion worth of campaign ads.
Exactly.
I want to go on vacation where there's no TVs, man.
Well, I think what's going to kind of draw things out is once they start pulling different polls out, and as the numbers escalate in one way or another, you're going to have all the different groups that can use that as their propaganda to push and, cause unrest in one form or another, no matter which side it's on.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, in 2016, everybody pushed so hard for Hillary. While people were still voting, they're going, "Oh, she got a 93% chance of winning." She frickin' lost.
Oh, well,
So do I trust polls now?
She made some dumb moves, though. I mean, she lost Bernie's whole base.
That, and she didn't get the black vote Obama got, and she didn't get the turnout Obama got.
Yeah, exactly.
She beat herself, and of course, deplorables didn't help. But Biden raised the stakes so much. She said about deplorables. Trump voters were deplorables. He said to Charlemagne on the talk show, "What? If you don't vote for me, you ain't black." And Charlemagne just ignored it because he knew his peeps the next day would cut Biden a new asshole, and they did.
Oh, yeah. I saw that clip.
But just like Romney thought when he ran, he thought he was off the mic. And there was a hot mic, if you remember the history of the election with Romney.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a statement where he said, "I don't give a shit about 47% of the fucking people in this country. They ain't vote for me. What the fuck do I care about them?" Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Duh. And then double duh. Always beware of the hot mic.
Exactly.
Remember
Obama
Obama leans over before he was reelected to the Russian guy. "Listen, we'll talk after I'm reelected. I'll have more flexibility." What the fuck did that statement mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking if Biden wins, it's going to be riots. I think if Trump wins, there's going to be riots again.
Most
Or
definitely.
some kind of shit's going to happen. Do you agree?
I definitely agree. I mean, I think one way or another you're going to have the riots if Biden wins, definitely, because they're going to have more of the strong base, and everybody's going to say it's all the white supremacists, coming out, and people are going to get up in arms, and it's going to be the same way if Trump wins. Trump wins, you're still going to have that strong base coming out, and they're going to, oh, Black Lives Matter. And one way or another, we're not going to win.
We always lose. Let me ask you an important question. You think in 4 months, Trump's been in office over 3 years. You think in 4 months this country's going to become unified?
No.
No. So that's why I'm predicting maybe not crazy riots again, because the community leaders have talked to the officials and they've kind of quieted things down. But some shit's going to happen. I'm for sure some shit's going to happen.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not going to be cold enough to keep people from wanting to riot.
True. So let's talk about the Black Lives Matter issue.
Yeah.
Why do you think, especially the multinational corporations in America, why did they give hundreds of millions of dollars to BLM? Why? I got my take on it. What do you think?
It's just to basically keep things divided. I mean, the more chaos, the more unrest, the more money they're making. The more we're losing, giant corporations are really just pushing us the hell down, and they're taking the backing of one way or another, and the more they can keep us separated, the more they keep us docile.
Right, well, I talked about that in all my radio shows and all my podcasts since we started, that the issue throughout recorded history, how did the few number of elites, small group, the one percenters, how do they control 99% of the people? During the Roman times, even after Rome was crumbling, had the Colosseum and the bloodlust. Now we have the Now we have the NFL, we have UFC, we have all this bloodlust. People are basically bloodlusters.
Oh, yeah.
And what's going to happen with chaos, if chaos gets really bad, we're going to see vigilantes.
Yep.
I mean, think about Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry was so popular because he exercised 9-cent justice, the cost of a bullet, to rectify no prison term, no court, no public defenders, no lawyers, no bail, nothing. You're gone. He resisted arrest. I had to take him down. So there is a certain gene in American mental body about they respect and enjoy watching vigilante justice if they're 100%, 110% sure it was righteous. It was righteous. So what scares me about BLM with this 460 million and growing is some will be stolen, like any group, white, black, green, black would steal from that amount of money. Sharpton will rise his ugly head and take a couple million. I'm sure he will. He'll be the articulate spokesman for the left.
Yeah, he never misses that chance.
Oh, no. Didn't he used to be really fat? Anyway. So I'm concerned about what that $660 million can buy.
It can buy basically an army. I mean,
that's exactly my word. I mean, Soros gave $33 million. He's got 100 organizations he gives billions to. But $460 million, Corey, that's powerful political. That's more money than Trump and Biden have raised so far.
Well, that's basically enough to fuel a domestic army. I mean, we don't have that here, but you put that money behind the people, get them riled up, get them fueled up, get them pissed off, and then give them your basic, not weapons, but, like they've said, I've heard, reports of people putting bricks in certain places for the riots and setting things up. That's that money right there. It's going to setting things up so that people are well equipped to riot and actually escalate things further, and then help actually spread us apart even further, keep us apart from each other.
Anybody who doesn't think this is all orchestrated and organized from the left is wearing blinders. Like you say, this stuff was strategically placed. They have cell phones. Cops are coming here according to the scanner. Let's go over here. They're coming here. Let's go over here. I mean, come on. It was cat and mouse. In Philadelphia today, the mayor and the government and the justice system in Philadelphia said we're not going to charge. We charge, but we're not going to prosecute hundreds of people that broke the law during the protest.
Really? I didn't hear that one.
I understand why. The cost of prosecution, the length of time, the shortage of staff and public defenders and all that jazz. But they ruled today we're not going to arrest these people and We're not going to make them pay their fines. We're not going to do any of that shit. We're going to let them go. Let them go.
That's
So
terrible.
I think, well, listen, in nature, you ever see animals in nature fight? When
Oh, yeah.
when one gives a knee to the other one and bows down, what does that mean, Corey?
Yeah, it means the other one wins.
Means,
Leave me alone.
means-
Here's my tummy.
Means surrender.
Exactly.
Let's take a break.
All right, sir. Sounds good. We're going to go to break, and we'll be back shortly.
We'll play a game when we come back.
Oh, sounds like fun to me.
I'll tell the audience our 4 new games.
Okay. I'll see you in a bit.
All right, all right, all right. Listen to Don Henley. Sutton's Irish Pub. With 10 beers on tap, exotic cocktails, assorted wines, and elevated bar fare. Niall Murphy, a history buff, proprietor of Sutton's and a native of Ireland, was inspired to name the spot for the Sutton family, English shipbuilders who opened a foundry and ironworks at Front and Girard Avenues in the 1840s here in Philadelphia. Sutton's Bar is a nod to the past industrial might of Kensington and the hard-working people of many nations that came to call it home. You don't believe me? Listen to what the people say.
Food was phenomenal. Drinks were perfect. Service on point and friendly. Can't wait to go back.
Great food and great staff. Perfect place to grab a local drink.
1706 North 5th Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sutton's. Open every day from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. or visit Sutton's on the web at suttonsphilly.com. My friends are now your friends.
Starting in 1941, the golden era of private dining clubs and male privilege, stood the venerable Vesper Club, now transformed into the hippest bar and restaurant in Philadelphia on Sydenham Street. It's been said in its heyday that more business deals were done in the Vesper Club than anywhere in the state. Great music, great food, great times. It doesn't hurt that women at the Vesper Club outnumber men 2 to 1. Happy hunting.
All right, we're back from commercial break and the lovely music of Don Henley and the heart of the matter. Great words, I'm telling you, great words. They sum it up. Don Henley was a social consciousness writer of music, and if you haven't heard him, you should listen. Yeah, my one question about Colin Kaepernick, who sucks as a football player, but apparently just signed a deal with somebody. Corey's going to bring it up. Let me ask you a question. Did he kneel first? Or was he wearing those I hate pig socks first?
Either way, you sell your soul to Disney.
He sold his soul to Disney. Do you know what the premise of this show's going to be?
Not selling your soul to Disney?
Well, no, he's supposed to be some half-assed expert about the coming together of entertainment and sports and social justice and how these guys are entitled to be spokespersons. It's like an actor in Hollywood. Great actor. You suck at fucking political science, motherfucker. Did you go to college for this?
Yeah. No, man. I mean, as much as I personally think, your pulpit. Hold on one second. It didn't stop there. Anyway, I'm going back to you. Say that again.
No, I'm saying actors in Hollywood, the criticism is great actor, terrible political scientist. He should just shut the fuck up and make great movies. They think because they have celebrity doesn't give you a higher IQ. Making $20 million a movie doesn't make you have a higher IQ. Doesn't give you knowledge, gives you more money in your bank account. But where do you think in your bubble of celebrity that you all of a sudden became a political scientist genius? You can comment on politics, and all your followers of your movies are going to vote for the people you say. Get real, get a life, and wake the fuck up.
Exactly. Well, it's much like with anything in life. People who have a hell of a lot more money than the rest of us think that they have a hell of a lot more to say, right?
Well, they're confused. In fact, they're beyond confused. They're confussed. That's like confused squared. But the same thing with the White House. All these people that wrote books about Trump, they were in the inner circle and made money off it. I mean, he's created a whole big industry. And I was saying last week the big challenge will be, in all the movies written about the year 2020 and about Trump, who's playing Trump besides Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, I think he's got him down pat.
Yeah, he does. He's got the pout, the lips, and the whole thing. But I'll tell you, you ever hear a guy called Frank Caliendo?
The name sounds familiar.
He
Remind me.
he is currently the world's greatest impressionist.
Oh yes, yeah, he does.
Sports
the
stuff.
football coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His claim to fame initially was Madden,
Yes.
but he does all the great ones. He does. Who's that young guy with the blonde hair? What the hell's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
That's a pretty general young guy with the blonde hair.
No, the guy is all pumped up all the time. What the hell's his name? I forget it. Oh, we'll talk about it next week.
Not a worry.
But Caliendo could do like 100 people. Does a great.
Oh, yeah.
He does a great Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Does a great John Madden. He actually met John Madden, and John Madden didn't like him. And John Madden had his two grandsons with him, and they were laughing their ass off. And Madden thought, you know what? If he made my grandsons laugh like this, he's not a bad guy breaking my balls here. You know,
It's all in fun, right?
it's all
I
in
mean-
fun. You know, Frank Caliendo he's the man. But he's done a lot of stuff with ESPN where he comes on there and he plays like a dozen different broadcasters.
Nice.
And the guys are falling off their chairs because he's so fucking spot on. And they do makeup with him so he looks like the guys. And he talks like the guys. He does Ditka. He does Madden. He does all the big ones. Does all the big ones.
But I mean, that's where ESPN and all that stuff is for. I mean, you don't really need to bring politics into everything. You don't really need to bring topics.
But with a guy like Frank Caliendo, look how they blended humor and comedy
Oh yeah.
as entertainment and sports. So you got entertainment, sports. The only thing missing is Colin, social justice.
Yeah.
We talked on the unplugged part in the break about in nature when two rams are butting heads, you know, on the mountain, and one bows the other. What's he saying? I surrender. I bow to your superiority.
Exactly. When you show
So-
your belly.
So you let BLM and all these organizations. I'm not being racist here. I'm just saying I don't like the organization because it's been corrupted by other parties, and they have too much money right now. But the point is that when you get to that point, it's not a good point.
Well, when you fuel a mass mob and you throw some money behind it, you can direct that mob.
Yeah, I
Correct?
mean, we talked earlier today, and it was on the news about McCluskey in St. Louis. Did the guy have a right to defend his wife and his property and go and get his guns when they trespassed and broke his gate down? And Chris Cuomo's trying to go, well, you know, was your property injured? Were you injured? Well, I didn't fucking know that. They were threatening to murder me, so I thought I better be safe and get my gun.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I hate these critics and these armchair quarterbacks who, after the facts, they had no solutions at the time, but they can criticize everybody. I want to come back in my next life as a critic. It's the easiest job on the planet.
There you go.
Just piss and moan about other people.
Get paid for ripping everything apart.
Yeah. Anyway, fuck Kaepernick. Fuck Mr. Kaepernick. He's out of football now. He's an entertainer. But we talked about the White House, how they come out of the White House, revolving door, and they go to Raytheon and Halliburton and all. You know,
Oh yeah.
they trade their government lobbying experience and their contacts for money, and they betray our country.
Well, I mean, what's the best job to have except when you get out of government, the people that paid you a ton of money still pay you a ton of money to pay somebody else a ton of money.
It's a vicious loop. It's a vicious circle.
Oh yeah.
It's a vicious circle.
Exactly, and the normal people can't. I believe, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Normal people can only lobby government maybe 1-2 days a week, but the rich can take them to dinner and give them money in the back of a restaurant or wherever they'd like.
Let me tell you what the average person in this country thinks. 3 things. When I come home after my long day at work and I'm just totally deflated, did the light switch work? Did the lights come on?
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, did they pick up my trash today, my recyclables? And number 3, God, I hope my check clears on Friday from my boss.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
They're so busy just surviving. They have no time to get involved.
Oh yeah.
The rich have all the time in the world to just create policy and jerk everybody else off because they got free time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could take months on their yacht to cruise around Europe and do all sorts of stuff like
yeah,
that,
I
where
mean,
the rest
well,
of us
yeah.
wonder where the next paycheck's coming from.
I mean, when Tommy Lack was on the show last week, we talked about Pelosi and her ice cream.
Eh?
I mean, she's so out of touch. $28,000 in the 2 refrigerators cost to buy. The ice cream's like $15 a pint.
Yeah.
And she's bragging. She's bragging. But my question last week was, if she has $100 million, why is she still wearing dentures? She couldn't afford implants?
Yeah, no crap.
So let's talk about, all right, let's fuck Kaepernick. Let's talk about, now, there's four games that the G-Man has created so far.
All right.
You know, the one game we play is, of course, is international slang. Then we have Bad Ideas, my new one. We have the acronym game, my new one. And we have Name That Tune, of course, which is a classic. So in the future, we'll do the Name That Tune where I'll pick 6 songs, and we have a number of co-hosts. We'll go around the table and see if they can name it in 2 notes, you know. That's that game. But I like let's talk about the Bad Ideas game. I'll give you an example, and you tell me your bad idea.
All right.
I was in a bar last night with my buddies. We got drunk as skunks. We went to a fucking tattoo parlor. I got that tattoo, and they promised it'd wash off in the shower in the morning if I didn't like it. And I took a shower. The motherfucker didn't come off. So what's your bad idea besides feeding alligators?
Yeah. Well, I personally prefer not to whiz on electric fences. You know.
That's a funny one.
It's a good way to wake up.
Yes. There's lots of good ones, bad idea. But let's talk about the G-Man's greatest creation so far, the acronym game. So we'll start out, we'll play for 5 minutes here.
All right. I heard a bit about this.
What does FBI stand for?
Well, technically, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And what does CIA stand for?
Central Intelligence Agency.
And we'll finish up with the FDA.
All right. And that is the Food and Drug Administration.
Correct. What does bitch stand for?
Being into chili hell? I don't know.
No. A babe being totally in control of herself.
Well, there you go. All right.
no,
I took
no.
that back. Hell yeah.
I'll throw another one at you. What is it?
All right.
Now, this is the one that all women on the planet hate. What does cunt stand for?
Well, I've heard see you next Tuesday, but that would start with an S. So I'm going to say can't unthink new things.
Can't understand normal thinking.
Okay.
All right, now you throw a word at me. Any word in the vocabulary.
Any word. All right.
5 or 6 letters, keep it short.
5 or 6 letters, keep it short. All right. Dung.
Dung.
That's 4 letters.
Dung?
Dung.
D-U-N-G?
There you go.
Don't underestimate negative gospel. I don't know.
Don't undo new. I don't know.
The G's a tough one. G's a
That
tough
is true. Okay, so let's see.
Sex.
Well, that's only 3. I thought we were going for 5. C enough.
No, S.
Xylophones. C.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
starts with S.
All right, throw one at me, another one at me.
All right, so we'll do tongue.
To others, never give underwear ever.
So wait, it's Tounge. So
Well, yeah,
to
well, you,
others.
You can insert an additional word to make a sentence out of it, like, you know,
Oh, okay.
babe totally in control of herself, but, you know. Like,
Okay,
like,
there
in
you
other
go.
words, CIA is Central Intelligence, FBI is Federal Bureau of Investigation. It's 4 words.
Well, for tongue, let's say to undergo.
No, it's T-O. T-O-N.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, okay. So to open unending new great engagements. There we go. That's a positive one.
I think your alcohol's kicking. By the way, audience, we were doing shots on the break, but
Yeah, it happens.
I confess I killed a papa with my voodoo. I confess I killed a papa with my voodoo.
Well, we got a couple minutes left here, G. How you want to wrap this out?
Well, just 2 minutes. I could do an epilogue.
Yes, sir. All right, so stand by and I'm coming to you, my friend.
Do a close-up of this.
All right, well, you're at a wide shot now, and then we'll go to a nice fade for dramatic effect.
I am an actor. They don't call women actresses anymore. They call them actors. Men and women are generically actors. Now, I think the year 2020, because I was around for the second revolution in 1968 in California, marching against the war, getting spit upon like the soldiers, because I was unpatriotic to fight a war that was stupid. The people were in California. Even back then, they were dumb motherfuckers. But the point is, the year 2020 will go down in history as the third revolution. 1776, 1968, and now revolution cubed and squared and cubed and many times over because we got social media. So we got 5 billion and 100 million opinions on the planet. It's insane. So we were joking earlier about, all these Hollywood screenwriters and actors, and they're dying to make movies about the year 2020, and we're only halfway done. There's plenty of scripts to be written about what's happened so far and what will happen as the future is predicted, because come this November, this country's taking a new direction in history. We know it's time to go into the future. We talked about this, about the robots last week, Corey. But the point is, it's time to venture into the future, like you said, kicking and dragging into the digital age. But what's it going to be in this election? Is it going to be back in time with Biden, forward in time with Trump? And like Trump likes to say, I love it, what are you guys going to do after I'm out of office, huh? I've spawned a whole industry of books, propaganda, media. You guys are all making money off me. What are you going to do when I'm gone? When the well runs dry, suckers, you're going to miss my ass. So when they say they hate Trump, they fucking love Trump. They love this motherfucker. And that's the only way I can sum it up. It's going to be a tremendous year historically in the future history books when I'm long gone. I'd like to be around for a while, guys, but come on. There's an expiration date on my life, okay? I don't know it. He knows it. You don't know it. I know it. I don't know the date, but I know it's coming someday for all of us. I'll leave you with a great quote in a Bob Dylan song early in his career. Those who aren't busy being born are already busy dying. Think about that one. And thanks for tuning in again to the Straight Skinny Show. This is show number 6 of 1,000 or so. And I hope you enjoyed today's commentary. A little calmer than last week when I had 2 beers, 2 shots, and some doobs to start the show, and I was a little manic. So we play many characters here, many characters. I've done 28 plays in my career. I've played many different characters, and this is just one more. And as always, we'll say it in 3 languages. Das Vidania, bonsoir, hasta luego. Enjoy the ending of the show with Don Henley. Listen to the words. Bye.
Forgiveness, forgiveness, baby, forgiveness.